There are places that don't announce themselves. No signs, no markers, no warning that you've just stepped into something older than memory. Sometimes they hide behind a wrong turn, and sometimes they wait at the end of a road you weren't meant to find. Long before the forest reclaimed its silence, this land was part of something living, something working. The town of Bridgers once stood here, quietly rooted near 5 Mile Pond. Not a booming city, not a place of grand headlines, but a place of purpose. These were the kinds of towns built from necessity: timber, cattle, water access, survival stitched together by dirt roads and determination. People carved out lives here, likely drawn by the promise of land and the rhythm of Florida's frontier. You won't find much written about Bridgers, and maybe that's part of the story, because not every place that mattered made it into the history books. At its height, however brief, it would have been simple. Homes scattered beneath the trees, paths worn into the earth by repetition, voices carried on the wind between families who depended on each other. You can almost picture it: smoke rising from cook fires, tools leaning against rough-cut wood, the quiet hum of a life being lived without spectacle. No monuments, no grand architecture, just people making something out of nothing. But places like this don't disappear overnight. They fade. Maybe the land stopped giving what it once did. Maybe roads shifted, pulling life somewhere else. Maybe the world moved forward and Bridgers didn't move with it. The cracks don't always show themselves clearly. Sometimes they're just absence. And eventually, silence took over. Structures fell. Paths disappeared. Names were forgotten until the forest stepped in, not as a destroyer, but as a keeper, swallowing what remained, protecting it, hiding it, leaving behind only fragments for those willing to look. I didn't set out to find Bridgers. Not really. I was hiking near Mannfield, chasing a different story, looking for an old cemetery. But somewhere along the way, we missed a turn. And that's when things started to shift. We ended up on a road that didn't quite feel like it belonged to the present. Not fully abandoned, but not fully alive either. So after the hike, curiosity won. We found what looked like the beginning of that road and followed it. And that's when we saw it. A square, concrete structure sitting alone in the woods. No context, no explanation, just there. Maybe a cattle trough. Maybe something else entirely. The kind of object that asks questions but refuses to answer them. The next weekend, I came back. Because places like that don't let you walk away that easily. I followed the trails, listened to the quiet, and then I saw it. A picnic table beneath an old oak tree. Now, patterns matter out here. People don't just place things randomly in the woods. So I started looking closer. And under a cluster of palms, I found it. A scatter of old cans, rusted, forgotten. Possibly older than they looked. A trash pile, but not modern. Not careless. This felt like something left behind, not thrown away. I kept moving, circling back toward that concrete structure, when I stumbled across roof shingles, rusted strips of metal, fragments. pieces of something that used to stand. And just like that, the land started to whisper a little louder. The third time I passed through, Murph had clearly been busy, because what looked like a body near that structure turned out to be a broken garden ornament, headless, the rest of it tossed into the water like some kind of accidental horror movie prop. I'll admit, I laughed, but only for a second, because modern trash in a place like this, that's not history. That's just disrespect. So I followed the records next. They pointed toward 5 Mile Pond, the heart of where Bridgers once stood. And that's where I went. Now this hike, Murph upgraded from mischief to full-on aerial assault. Hoverflies, relentless, pelting my face like I owed them money. It's hard to listen to a place when you're being dive-bombed every 5 seconds. But even through the chaos, there were signs, clearings that felt intentional, like spaces where homes once stood. I found a bottle, small, quiet, but real, proof that something had been here. At the pond, there was another picnic table, and beside it, a strange concrete post, like someone had poured a structure into a mold and then walked away before explaining it. And then the mood shifted, because scattered around the pond were shotgun shells, bullets, shattered cans, modern use, modern noise, a different kind of presence. And nearby, another trash pile, this one unmistakably new. Plastic, debris, carelessness. The kind of mark that doesn't belong in a place that's already fighting to be remembered. On my final hike of this season, the forest had had enough of me. Horseflies. Aggressive, persistent, personal. So I made the call. Retreat. Because sometimes Florida reminds you, you don't get to explore on your own schedule. But here's the thing about Bridgers. It never fully revealed itself. Not in one trip. Not in 3. And maybe that's the point. Some places don't give you answers. They give you pieces. A structure with no name. A clearing with no map. A whisper you almost miss. And if you're willing to come back, to look again, to listen a little closer, they might give you more. If you've ever taken a wrong turn and found something you weren't supposed to, you already understand this place. Bridgers isn't gone. It's just quiet. And somewhere out there, beneath the trees, beyond the trails, there are still stories waiting to be found.